channel 114 on Topstar. You can actually look for that, and they are also on their Facebook page. You can go to BMTV Facebook page, follow the conversation, leave us a comment, or indeed your question. Will be grateful to respond to all your concerns. Now, today, we are privileged to host Honorable Mtotwe Kafwaya. He is the Patriotic Front long-term member of Parliament. And Honorable, good to have you.
I'm grateful that I could be heard, Zaki. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good morning to you. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers.
Indeed, and we are grateful that you made it here. Quickly, I will probably ask that your microphone be properly set. I can see that I'm not getting you clearly. But that said, let me quickly state here that later on in the course of the program, I will be able to give you an opportunity, our listeners, to call in and interact with our guest on the number that will be shared to you pretty soon. For now, leave us your comments on our Facebook page. We'll be grateful. That's 5FM Radio Zambia, and also our YouTube channel, which is 5FM Radio Zambia. Well, let's get into it. Honorable, it's a pleasure to have you here, and always we have had great interaction. We've had great interaction with you on many other issues, but one important question I'll ask that you probably just give us briefly about your thoughts, especially around the fact that His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema this week will actually be, in fact this Friday, he will be addressing the nation through Parliament on national values and principles. Now, this is done yearly, and we would basically say that this will be his last before we go to the general election. So I would want to get your 2 cents on this matter.
Okay, so thank you so much, Zaki. And, speaking about President Hakainde Hichilema's addresses to the nation, sometimes via the National Assembly, as he would be doing this Friday, and sometimes via press conferences, I have begun to find it extremely difficult because in my view most of the things he says are uncoordinated. They don't speak to the realities of our time. They don't solve any problems. He goes back to the same old stories, the stories he spoke about when he was in the opposition, and in fact most of those stories which are totally meaningless because he speaks about things that can't change people's lives. Now, this particular address to the National Assembly of Zambia, or to the nation through the National Assembly of Zambia, is a dictate of the Constitution. The Article 8 of our Republican Constitution establishes the national values and principles.
Right.
And Article 9 demands of the President to report progress on an annual basis. By progress, the implication is the President must come and tell the country that in this from the time I reported up to now, this is the progress we have made in terms of applying ourselves as a nation to the national values and principles. So we expect the President to be coming to the House, to talk about morality and ethics. Remember, there are how many? There are 6 principles that are enshrined in the Constitution, and one of them is morality and ethics. So the President will be telling us, under morality and ethics, this is what we have been able to do. This is the progress we have made. Now, as he will be speaking to the Zambian people, he will remember that not long ago, he told the Zambians that I dribbled them. I dribbled the MPs Okay, I dribbled them and we amended the constitution. So what morality is in dribbling the Zambian people, in coming up with the constitution? He will have that at the back of his mind and he's going to suffer, because there is absolutely no morality in dribbling the nation, in amending the constitution. Okay, so I'll be looking at him, I'll be looking at him to see what body language he carries with himself when he is talking about morality, because to have, you know what it means to have morality, you know what it means to have ethics, but I don't see any ethics, I don't see any morality in dribbling the nation. Okay, in order to amend their constitution. The president will be talking about, this is how much we have been patriotic. This is how much we have built, the national unity, because that's the other, principle, which is there, patriotism and national unity. And then he's going to remember that he told the people of Southern Province that give me 1 million votes. If you don't give me 1 million votes, I may lose elections. And when I lose elections, it's going to be bad for you. He's going to remember that. And when he remembers that he told the people of Southern Province that out of 1.1 million, 1 million should go to him, then he will have now to start telling us how he has, managed to unite the country. He is going to suffer. I don't envy him. I really don't. And I think that when it comes, to democracy and constitutionalism, again, he will recall that his electoral commission wants to reduce the electoral controls. Okay, because a reckless leader there would go about and say, no, the people are saying this control is causing ballots, to come out as, damages, the uncountable ballots because somebody forgot to place a stamp on it. Listen to me. You don't reduce internal controls because there is failure on the part of your people from adhering to them. You have to decide, are these proper internal controls? If they are, then those who are failing to adhere to them must be sanctioned. That's what you do as a reasonable person, as a reasonable system. But this lady is saying, no, so what type of nonsense is that? And the president will remember that. He's going to remember, and then he will be thinking, what democracy is this? What improvement to democracy have I done? Constitutionalism. I am still keeping an auditor general who is unconstitutionally in office. I have kept him for 4 years and he's still there. So the president will be thinking, Katwish, I'll be keen. Okay, I'll be keen to listen to him and feel him. Then he's going to talk about good governance. He's going to talk about integrity and so on. And he's going to quickly remember that he has thrown a lot of workers at cabinet office. His government has done so. About 400 senior, civil servants languishing at cabinet office, not going for work, but getting paid, with pain. If you are a patriotic citizen like myself and you, Zaki, you want to come to work. That's when you get paid. You don't want to get paid just sitting at home. Okay, because that's unfair on the part of taxpayers. That's unfair on the part of the nation. That's idle capacity out there, which ought to be applied to the development of the nation. But the president will have to consider that as good governance. And he will make all of those reports. Do you know that the values also talk about sustainable development?
Yes, it does.
Okay, what is sustainable development? It's development for now, for you and me, Zaki, to enjoy it. But not just for now, it's development for the future. It's development that ensures that our children and their children will be able to have a decent life. And then he's going to remember, what have I been able to deliver in this past 12 months since I last reported? Okay, whatever. In fact, he can go as far back as the time he was elected. He will think about his own delivery. What has he been able to present to the Zambian people as, this is my throughput. This is what I've been able to offer you. And he's going to suffer. Because if he remembers all the major projects that he has been able to, to launch, those are projects of his predecessor, whose body still remains in the morgue. For him, it is those toilets, if you remember the toilets in Kitwe. For him, it is those boreholes. You remember when they were showing him the tumamilimi and the tuma, what you call cooking oil, the sachets of milimi and cooking oil in Mandevu and in Chawama. Those are the things he's going to remember. Then he's going to remember the Lusaka Ndola dual carriageway, where they have brought Moik to come and get money from the Zambian people. Moik doing nothing but obtaining money from toll gates. Okay,
but that's a project that you would actually want to say sustainable for the future, no?
Well, where they already launched the road, Masangano, Ndola Masangano, yeah. They are already repairing it, because they began to construct that road without a consultant. You can't do that. That's not sustainable. You can't. And when I said he's going to remember this, I didn't say it with positivity. I said it with utter negativity. Because number one, you can't be on a project like the Ndola Lusaka dual carriageway for over 12 months without a consultant. You can't. And then you come and bring a consultant on board. You bring one consultant. Let me tell you, this contractor is doing various, various levels of construction in different patches, in different locations. How do you have one consultant? How? What costs are you trying to save and to what end? Because remember, where you already launched the road, which is the Masangano, you are already, patching potholes. The road is less than 1 year old, but you are patching it now. The vehicles are skidding on the road, on the new road. That's poor. It shouldn't be like that. That's not sustainable development. That is poor development for the people. But the main issues surrounding the Lusaka Ndola dual carriageway are these, toll gates and Moik, and also the issue of the consultant. You have to look at those things critically. What is going to happen to the work which was done when there was no consultant? And as a matter of fact, because there's only one consultant, you find that if this consultant is working on a stretch, between Ndola and Kafwaya, what is happening to the work being done between 10 miles and this target, Samba target? Yeah. What is happening to it in terms of the consultant being sure that you are using the correct materials, you are making, the correct mixture compositions, you are just doing the right thing. There's absolutely no guarantee that this one consultant is able to do the work adequately for this mega project. But outside of that, what about its organization? What is Moik doing? What is the purpose of Moik? What is the use of Moik? Because Moik has mobilized no money at all. Moik has come and apply money which is already sitting in Zambia. The contractor you are using is already sitting in Zambia. What is the use of Moik? That's a point. This macro ocean. Ninchito nshale bomba. Ayisafe mkusende ndalama. Wamwaisa mubika pakati. To do what? Anyway, it's up to the president to think about all of those things. And when he thinks about them, then he's going to brief us what sustainable development that is.
Well, thank you very much. And of course, that is more on the fact that the president will this Friday be addressing the nation through parliament on national values and principles. And thank you for adequately responding to the question. Now, you are one of the most outspoken in as far as
I don't say that.
in as far as allegations on this government, on the UPND government being corrupt, and these are the things that obviously the Attorney General has since responded to.
Is that so?
Because then the Attorney General is on record having stated that on several occasions the opposition has come out alleging that this regime has been conducting government business secretively, and he's come out and says those are mere allegations and this government has never done business in secrecy. All the business that this government has done is in public out there. And this brings me to the fact that you have equally stated on several occasions that you have noticed corruption under this regime. What really are you referring to as corrupt activities under this regime?
Zaki, you make me wonder when you ask as though you do not see. I was just talking about Moik. If you think the deal to do with Moik is a normal deal, the country is doomed. Because you ought to be a reservoir of information. You've got to be somebody who is going to churn out information which is helpful to the people. You just assess our friends, the UPND, assess them, what they were saying when they came into power, shortly before and when they just came into power. Assess what they were saying. Weren't you hearing things like lifestyle audits?
Yes.
If you are not, let me remind you, this minister who is now sitting as Minister of Foreign Affairs, when he was at Minister of Justice, he was saying they'll come up with a law, to compel the nation to do, these lifestyle audits on politicians and senior civil servants. Okay? Today, if you bring that subject of lifestyle audit, they'll look down, they'll be looking down. Like, sheep, where, the sheep that has been poured with cold water. They don't even want to hear that anymore. Nobody, I can challenge you, my brother, nobody in the UPND, particularly those ministers, can push the narrative of lifestyle audits anymore. Don't you know that even the issue of declaring assets is a big issue in our country now? They refuse. They don't want to declare assets from the president coming all the way down. They can't accept the declaration of assets. Okay? They can't. They don't want to. The American ambassador, spoke in Livingston the other time, saying that it's a good image for the president to lead the way in declaring assets. What did you hear from one of the ministers? It's not mandatory for the president to declare assets. It is not mandatory. But the guy there, the American ambassador was saying it's good practice. Okay, it gives a good example because you have to lead by example. It is a minister who came out and said it's not mandatory. So this issue of corruption, my brother, this issue of corruption is a massive issue. Do you recall that the American ambassador himself said that this UPND government bought maize from Tanzania at 40% higher? 40% higher. If you pay $100, you are paying $40 more. That's what it means to pay 40% higher. But how much were they buying? They were buying 650,000 metric tons. Then you have now to calculate the value of that. And then you have to, to assess it for 60% because the 40% was higher than market value. Market value not here in Zambia, but in Tanzania. Go and find out from this government who signed that contract. You might find that the guy who signed that contract is from DMMU. Okay? Go and find out if that contract passed through, Minister of Justice, the Attorney General's chambers. You may find that the legal counsel was signing that is from FRA. The issue, nothing to do with the Ministry of Justice. That's what you may find. And then you should tell me today that there is no corruption in the UPND government.
You could have been a very good whistleblower if you know all this.
Listen to me.
Why is it that this is not information sitting with the anti-corruption commission?
I'll tell you something for free.
Yeah.
This particular contract is out there on the internet. Okay, the Zambian government may have not put it on the internet, but it is out there on the internet. This contract is out there on the internet. All the confidentiality clauses which they embedded in there, the fact that you can amend this contract, and the amendment on the Zambian side will become effective even before it goes through the Attorney General. All of those things people have come to know. They have come to know. Ordinary people like me and several others have come to know, because there is nothing hidden under the sun. That's what the Bible says, my friend. There's absolutely nothing hidden under the sun. But that's just one contract we are talking about. What do you think about Mopani? What do you think about the giveaway of Mopani? A government of the UPND decides to give away 51% of Mopani to some foreigner who they just went to select. This foreigner did not bid for Mopani. Okay, go to ZSMIH, find out, did they bid? No, they didn't. They were unilaterally selected by a UPND government. You don't know which organ. And these guys, they look too white. Let's give them 51% shares of Mopani. And what is the consideration? What is the consideration? They tell you, no, it is for the promise of $1.1 billion investment. What rubbish is that? That is total nonsense. How can you deliver shares to somebody, and then this person promises that they are going to invest $1.1 billion in the company, and then you say this is a sensible transaction? The moment you delivered the shares, my friend, Mopani became their company. So whatever they do to the company should not matter to you. Get the money for the shares. That's what you do first. Obtain the money for the shares and deploy that money, because those shares were once yours. They were once for the Zambian people. But you deliver them for nothing to this guy. And then this guy, as a consideration, as a payment for those shares, he says, no, Nkachitamo invest Mopani $1.1 billion. What rubbish is that? Then, my friend, you should be telling me there's no corruption in this country? Or somebody should come up and start telling me there's no corruption? But listen to a company which promised $1.1 billion investment. What is happening right now in Mufulir? What is happening right now in Mufulir? Accidents. Because of what? No safety procedures.
And that has since been rectified. And as of yesterday, I think
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We are talking about a new mine. Do you know that Mopani is a new mine? The asset is so new. It was already, renewed by Glencore. Do you know that? Is that an asset you can give away for nothing? Okay. You even circumvent Article 210 of the Constitution of Zambia, because it was 100% belonging to the Zambian people. What else did you do, my friend? Let me tell you something, and this UPND should continue tracking. Mopani's assets will be, will be serialized as they existed before the giveaway of control. And I'm telling you, whatever UPND has sold, which belonged to Mopani, they will be sanctioned. If there is a hotel in Lusaka which belonged to Mopani, and you have sold it, and 50% of the value has gone to these people you gave to, they will bring back the value. If you have sold any scrap metal belonging to Mopani and 51% value has gone to those so-called investors, you are in trouble. That money will come back, because that is total theft in broad daylight. There is no other way of putting it, my friend. That is stealing property which belongs to the Zambian people and giving it away to somebody who doesn't deserve to have it, because this must benefit the Zambians. That's, for me, I think that all these, including such expressions as Judge Kulia. You know, Judge Kulia, listen to me, my brother. Judge, what do you mean, Judge Kulia? Okay? No, Judge Kulia. Judge Ngalia, that's when you obtain a favorable judgment. And then you are saying there's no corruption in Zambia. I am not the one who inspired Judge Kulia. I'm not the one. I wasn't in the conversation. You know the people who were in the conversation. You know where the conversation was coming from. You know exactly what inspired that whole process. And for them to come to the conclusion that Judge Kulia, you know the players who are involved. But what would I tell you? If you ask me, Judge Kulia, judge is to dispense justice. Proper justice, based on the rule of law. What does the book say? In view of prevailing circumstances. And then you make a determination which is fair based on the law. You can't come out and start saying, yo, Judge Kulia and so on. So for me, I see a lot of corruption, plenty corruption. And I still maintain that UPND is a highly corrupt government. I wish I could speak it like my older brother Chimba Kambwid.
And of course, Honorable Kafwaya, I mean, again, much as you bringing out the ills of this government in the manner that they are managing public affairs, on the other hand, there are positives that are obviously economic positives that are showing, and obviously in what you are trying to bring out is in view of trying to alert the citizens that you should not re-elect the UPND government because this is how they are doing business, which is not right. But on the other hand, Zambians would want to believe, Honorable Kafwaya, that given the recent appreciation of the kwacha and improved economic indicators, do you really think that the UPND government is using these gains to influence voters in this election year? I'm asking this question because I've also heard from the opposition that these are just machinations that are economic machinations that this government is implementing just so that they can sway the citizens to vote for them or re-elect them into government. Surely, how do you respond to critics who say you as opposition are basically claiming that electoral manipulation are unfounded and it's merely an attempt to undermine the government's achievements?
Zaki, I'm worried that after saying so much, okay, in terms of what I think UPND means to our country, and after doing so much, you still have people who think that these are baseless claims. It's worrying. It's very worrying. Are the things we have been saying about Mopani false? Ask UPND. Are all of these things we've been saying about the Lusaka and Ndola dual carriageway false? Ask UPND. Okay? Ask them. But is it true that the economic indicator, some of the economic indicators are showing positivity? Ask UPND. Ask them. Okay? Look, don't come to me and start asking me about the GDP. Because I know what GDP must do to you. I know what a growing economy looks like. Go to UPND and ask them. You are telling me that the GDP is so good, it is over 5% per annum. Since you came into power, you've recorded an average of over 5% GDP per annum. Okay, show me now. Where is the Nshima on the table of the ordinary Zambians? Ubwali buli kwisa pe tebulo nangupa butanda bwa ordinary Zambians. Are people now able to eat on their verandas? Are they able to eat decent meals outside their homes? Pama veranda, pama butanda, pama tebulo. Are the people eating? Listen to me. I know what a growing GDP should do to graduating students from the University of Lusaka and the University of Zambia and Mulungushi University and Apex. I know what they should do to them. You tell me, how can you have over 3,000 trained doctors not employed in a country? How can you have over 1,500 medical doctors who are doing service for nothing? They are going to work every morning, seeing patients. Patients can't even differentiate who is an employed doctor and who is not. And they are, they are doing so for nothing. And then you are telling me the economy is growing. How can you tell me that the economy is growing? You are failing to pay farmers on time. So for who is the economy growing? That's a question now. For who? Aba iche tabakwete nchito ama businesses takuri ama laiti na yambo kuisapa ntukuri ama elections, and how much is that electricity? When we ask a minister, aren't you concerned about the cost of electricity? He will tell you, I'm going to investigate. The things which have to do with the people, you have to investigate. Let me tell you this. UPND will never come back to the people to tell them the outcome of the investigation. They will never. Why won't they never do so? Because even to make that declaration, they were just forced by the same opposition who you say are maliciously, conducting business. So, my friend, keep your GDP, give us jobs. Give us jobs to do. Employ the doctors. Let those doctors who have been rendering service for nothing be paid from the time they began to serve the nation up to now. You can't just pay Moik. You can't just be interested in Moik. Moik ena mwali mwebati mpako nombalini okupoka ama toll-gate fees. Moik ali ambako. What about the doctors who have been working for 3 years, 4 years? Pay them also. You understand? Pay the farmers on time. Stop giving to Meda kuma farmers. Stop giving Meda kuma farmers. Stop, making all of these things late. Farming inputs ukwisa late, and then you don't pay them on time, and you expect them to produce more crop in the coming season. Maybe you have seen that it's really heavy to pay farmers, and you don't want to pay them next harvest, and you want them not to perform. This is why you have mistreated them like this. But it's painful.
Honorable, I would like you to speak as one who's been in government before,
yes,
as a minister.
Yes.
And I think that it is not new,
yes,
that you would actually have farmers who are unpaid.
Oh,
you had instances, indeed, in your time in government.
Oh my goodness.
Where you probably through FRA, your government collected maize and did not pay the farmers on time.
My brother.
And I think that even the maize that the opposition, like yourselves, keep alleging that you had left a lot of maize before the UPND came into government, and their defense to the sale was not that they sowed because they wanted to do business, but because they sowed the maize so that they could pay farmers, meaning that you had collected maize and you did not pay the farmers. You should be speaking as someone who has been in government at cabinet level about how you get to employ doctors, for example, as you put it. I mean, teachers, for example, as you put it, because then it's expensive. And I think that you hardly employed the numbers that this government is employing during your time. So it looks like you're asking for too much.
Zaki, don't be basic. I think you are such a veteran who should be respected by myself and our listeners out there.
Of course.
And you cannot be basic. Let me tell you. You've got to ask yourself simple questions. How many hospitals did UPND create to employ the people in? How many schools did UPND create to employ all of those people in? Okay, and those numbers they've been giving you are not even reconciled numbers. For us who are interested in numbers, we reconcile these things, and I can tell you now that those numbers are fake. But significant numbers have been employed, but those ones which are reported are totally fake. Okay, and we'll end there. But to say that UPND, sold the maize that they found to pay farmers. You saw ministers who went to stands and declared what the UPND government was doing. We have all of this maize, okay, from 2018, 2019. This is the maize we are going to sell. Okay, and you know that UPND gave their friends the contract to sell maize, and they have sold the maize. Some of them up to now have never paid for that maize. Up to now, Auditor General, this Auditor General I keep talking about, who is an illegal Auditor General, he wrote a report which came to the National Assembly of Zambia, highlighting friends of UPND who got the contracts to sell maize and went and sold the maize and never paid for that maize. So how can you have a private player who you give maize to go and sell? They don't even pay you for that maize. And then you are telling me this money was used to pay farmers. Let me tell you, again, that is, if you are a minister and you say so, you are promoting the idea that you are an illegal, you like illegal transactions. Because let me tell you, government transactions are specific. They pass through a system of a Ministry of Finance system. Okay, if you do a transaction outside of that Ministry of Finance system, it's an illegal transaction. So are you telling me that the Ministry of Agriculture paid illegally? And in any case, if UPND is serious about painting, if they are genuine about an issue for which they want to paint PF about, they'll give you documentary evidence. They'll display it, challenge your minister. Challenge him to show you what he paid to the farmers who were left by PF and how he paid. He will never produce any evidence because PF never left any farmer unpaid. Never. That is UPND propaganda. But coming to this kwacha appreciation, the kwacha has appreciated. Zach, how has it benefited you? Okay? Are you now able to eat more meals than before?
I believe those in business are happy because now they are able to import.
Now they are
cheaply.
able to import cheaply, right?
Right.
The business people are clever. Businessmen and women are clever. They import when there is market. And market does not come from business people. It comes from consumers. It is this consumer who has no job, my friend. It is this consumer who has no opportunity. That's what we are talking about. It is you and me who are consuming. So don't think that the way we look at things is exactly how business people look at things. Okay? And they know, these businessmen and women even know the risk that elections bring with it. They know. They even know how dysfunctional governments become during elections. This is why they cannot be fooled. They do their risk assessment very, very professionally. And I can tell you that today, let's take a walk You know, I can challenge you, Zaki, my brother. Let's take a walk into Bauleni right now and randomly speak to 5 families or 10 families, 20 families. They're going to tell you that things are tougher now than they have ever been. The cost of living is so expensive. People are continue to eat 1 meal a day and sometimes no meal at all. So, yes, your kwacha is improving. Yes, you can tell me that your inflation is improving.
Yeah.
And somebody should be happy about that. For me, these are not the numbers which will make me happy. The numbers which will make me happy are those numbers you are going to produce to tell me that now graduates are getting opportunities for employment, opportunities for business, and they are able to sustain their lives and support their siblings and pay back their loans which they acquired when they were, doing their education. So in the absence of abantu kulya, wino nga wamfensara walya nga wamfwechera kawanu amenshi, and you drink safe clean water. In the absence of that, stop talking about your GDP, because this GDP is only benefiting that guy you gave 51% shares for Mopani, that guy you gave the road Moik. They are the ones who are benefiting from your GDP.
This is the Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue here on the Happy World of 5 FM Radio. Our guest is Honorable Mtotwe Kafwaya, Patriotic Front Lunte Member of Parliament. Remember, we are also live on Ichengelo Radio, or Radio Ichengelo if you like, in Kitwe and covering the rest of the Copper Belt. We are also on Platinum Radio in Ndola, covering the entire Copper Belt as well. And not forgetting, here in Lusaka, we are on Millennium Radio and here on 5 FM Radio. And BMTV, channel 114, that is on Popstar. We are live on that TV channel as well. Let me quickly also remind you that we are live on Katete FM, that is in Katete, covering literally the entire Eastern Province. Spice FM in Kafwaya and Central Province. So is ZFM as well in Kapiri. And Tuta FM in Mansa. Isunga FM as well in Northern Province. We are so grateful that you carried this program live on your platforms, and we'll soon be taking in your phone calls. But quickly, before we get to take up phone calls, let me quickly ask one important question as well, in as far as you in the opposition is concerned. I mean, can you explain why Zambians should actually vote the Patriotic Front in the next election, considering the economic challenges faced during your tenure? And how do you plan to address the current economic gains without appearing to take credit for the current administration's work?
Okay, thank you so much, Zach. That indeed is a very important question. Okay. You have to look at where we are coming from UNIP into MMD, PF, and now UPND. And consider, what challenges did we have under UNIP, which were different from those we had under MMD and different from those we had under PF, compared to what we are having now? Okay, we know that economic challenges existed during UNIP. And I think this is why, or towards the end of UNIP, this is why in the around 1989, 1990, thereabout, people just got fed up. And we saw when MMD came in how they restructured the economy. And when you speak about restructuring of the economy, MMD holds the best record. Okay. Now, during all of that time, we know how the population exploded. Okay, and how that service infrastructure meant to serve our people or meant to facilitate the service to our people remained stagnant. Okay, partly because of that, that economic rule of what do you call? I'll remember and I'll tell you. I learned it from HH when he was in opposition. So you have a situation where this existing infrastructure is now not able to cater for the expanding population. Okay, the law of diminishing return.
Yeah.
if you know what that means. HH told me. Credit to him. He's a one who taught me the law of diminishing returns. So yes, you have these problems, and when PF comes in now, providing hope to expand the capabilities of the nation to deliver services, then we see again debt begins to build up, because to create this investment as we see it
In
now,
terms of infrastructure
in
development.
terms of infrastructure development, you have to exploit sources of income that you don't necessarily have. So we see again the debt begins to build up, and then this debt becomes a source of concern to the nation. Okay, so what you see is now a UPND which promises to decisively deal with the debt, first of all by promising that we are going to put a moratorium on debt. That means no more debt contraction until we have handled the existing debt. And this PF has failed to restructure the debt. We are going to restructure the debt so that our debt service becomes sustainable. These are the promises. Today, as we all know, there's no moratorium on debt. Debt has been contracted by UPND from their first year up to their last budget. This budget we are in has got a component of debt, and all the other four behind this one have got components of debt. And debt, not only local debt, but both local and international debt. So UPND, you lied when you said you were going to place a moratorium on debt. You cheated the Zambian people. And it is wrong. It is immoral to cheat. It is immoral to tell lies. The people voted for you on many accounts, including your promise of moratorium on debt. You haven't done that, and this is your final year in office. So you qualify to be called liars. You lied. Now, why should PF or those associated with the Patriotic Front be re-elected into office? For me, I am urging the Zambian people to vote for Tonse Alliance, because Tonse Alliance is a creation of President Edgar Lungu. Tonse Alliance has brought together a blend of people from various political undertakings, including the Patriotic Front Party, and they bring the experience of the Patriotic Front Party. They bring the neutrality of those coming, from parties that have not been in office before. They bring the experience of the Patriotic Front Party and those who have been in other governments. For example, if you consider Dr. Dan Pule, who has been in MMD, who was a deputy minister and the Minister of Finance during the MMD. So you bring that experience from the MMD, you bring that experience from the Patriotic Front Party, you bring the neutrality of all of those people who have never tasted the challenges of governing a nation, and then you make this blend which is capable of delivering on the promise, on the aspirations of the Zambian people. But look out also for the manifesto of Tonse Alliance, which will soon be launched. Look out for its content. Ensure you scrutinize this manifesto and see what promise it actually offers, because in that will lie the ultimate promise to the Zambian people. And because now Tonse Alliance has even elected its president, who is Honorable Brian Mundubile, you now have certainty about who is going to contest these elections. You have certainty about the caliber of a person that will be brought in to lead the nation. And you have seen the examples that he has set in the past. You know how he was able to manage the National Assembly when he was government chief whip. You also know how he was able to manage the National Assembly when he was leader of the opposition. But not only that, you know how he was able to manage the Northern Province when he was provincial minister there. So he has set examples of what sort of a person he is. I know that there's been numerous allegations of this and that, this and that, this and that. But what those who are alleging all of those negative things have failed to do is to establish the cases and show the evidence that this person is this and that. So because of that, then you know it is this UPND propaganda. You remember when the Minister of Finance was campaigning in the Northern Province. He stood on one one creation in the middle of the bush and began to talk about some university there, So when you look at that, and the minister said, you pay money, you don't know where the money has gone. You are the minister. You are the one who should be telling us where the money went. Okay? You are the one who is sitting with the information. Tell us, where did the money go? Oh, don't tell me it was paid during the PF. Oh, the PF people have come out. Some of them are in holding position. Some of them have been fired. But those you have remained with should be able to provide you with information, which then you can share with the public and say, listen, this PF was so bad. They paid this money and it went here or there. But the minister will not be able to tell you because it is UPND propaganda all the way. So for us, we will not deal in propaganda. For us, we will govern the nation the way the nation ought to be governed. We are going to create all these programs based on the needs of the people, not on the needs of Moiki. And that
how then, I'm glad that you're talking about the fact that you are formulating a manifesto for Tonse Alliance. How do you intend to ensure that, it gets to the people in good time, considering obviously that, time is a factor in this case. I mean, you have very few months. But also, let me give you public perception. Much as you have given a brief profile of the Tonse candidate, in this case, Honorable Brian Mundubide, it's different. You may give us the personality, but of course, Zambians are looking out for what is it that you are offering? And your constitution, I believe it better come soon, because what has been perceived of Tonse Alliance, that the criticism that you have for the current government is driven more by desire to regain power than genuine concern for Zambians, especially given the fact that this government has spoken highly about how transparent they are in managing government or public affairs.
Stop talking about transparency when you refer to UPND. You make me mad. You make me so mad. Listen, if this comes from UPND, I don't care, because that's how I know them. When it comes from you, I feel so bad. So bad, like I can even go home. You can't be talking about transparency when you
because I'm directly quoting what they are saying.
Listen, yeah. How do you promote transparency with those cyber laws? How? How can you promote transparency with the cyber laws that UPND has made, after promising that they were going to repeal the cyber law which existed, which was a flexible law? Okay? Stop talking about, listen, do you tell UPND to moderate on talking about some of these things? Accountability. Accountability, you dribble people to amend the constitution. Accountability, listen, forget about those words. They are non-existent as far as UPND is concerned. And the quality of the report that the president will deliver on Friday, we will show you. You remember what we began with? Watch out for the quality of the information that President Hakainde is going to deliver to the people on Friday. In fact, I would like the Zambian people to judge him based on what he's going to say on Friday. Let all of the Zambian people open their eyes. Remember, the information is going to bring is a collection of their performance from the various ministries and spending agencies, and what he would deliver regarding, the requirement for application of the national values and principles. You will now judge him and his government appropriately. Let's wait and see. So you have to moderate, my brother, in utilizing such words when you refer to the UPND. But you are saying the constitution of Tonse better come out soon. Tonse already has a constitution. What is unavailable now, which will soon come, is actually the manifesto of Tonse. Are we driven by the desire to regain power? Yes, we are driven by the desire to regain power in order for the Zambian people to be better off. Because listen, you can't have a government which can only develop capacity to import power for its people 6 months before elections. They kept their people in darkness. But not only do they bring power 6 months before election, and it's so expensive. The power is, the electricity is so expensive. And when you complain to your minister is not solving the problem. He's telling you, I've demanded an investigation. He doesn't even tell you when he's going to report back to you as a people. He doesn't even tell you when he thinks, listen to me, stop all these things. But the government is telling you the economy has been growing on average over 5% per annum. Now, if your economy has been growing over 5% per annum for the entire period you've been in office, why is it that this is when you are so vigorously talking about it? Why were you not talking about it in your first year? Because it grew by 5%. Why weren't you talking about it in your second year? Because it grew by 5%. Why weren't you talking about it in your third and fourth year? Why has it become so important now to channel to the people that on average we've been growing 5%? What has that 5% done to the people who have not been able to eat 1 square meal in a day? What has that got to do with those people? So my friend, you are in big trouble. These are the issues that are motivating people. Don't you listen to people when they say, unite, please unite and take out this UPND. Now, that is not us. That is the people. Okay? That is partly why I have been able to listen to those people and say, okay, for me, let me heed the people's call. Okay, and pave way for one person who I think has the capabilities, or whose capabilities I can also augment, somebody I can support. So, my brother, the desire to take over power to govern the Zambian people is there, and it is motivated not by us, but by the people we serve.
I've got a question from our partner radio station, Tuta FM. It says, good morning, Honorable Kafwaya. We have a couple of questions and I will accommodate them. So one says, Zach indicated that PF in 2021 left farmers without being paid for maize sold to FRA. You did not clearly respond to this issue. Did this happen? Secondly, in 2019, ECZ conducted delimitation exercise. What happened to the report, and what is your quick reaction to the creation of 70 new constituencies, equally spread across the provinces at 10 each, directed by ECZ?
These are important questions.
Right.
Very, very important questions. First, I would like to thank Tuta FM for pushing in.
Right.
For many reasons, that's how it should be. Now, PF left farmers without paying. I did answer. Maybe they just didn't follow. I said that government has a way in which they make their payments, and those payments go through a process. Which is architectured by the Ministry of Finance. Any payment outside of the system of that finance is an illegal payment. So it's an illegal payment, like that $82 million which UPND transferred by mistake to China. So, and I also further said, UPND gave their friends contracts to sell that maize. Some of those friends of theirs, up to now, they have not even paid for that maize. They just collected the maize, went and sold it, and pocketed the money. I said, this illegal Tajeno I talk about, he wrote a report in which he highlighted those friends of UPND who got the maize, went and sold the maize, and never paid for that maize to the government. So clearly, UPND is lying by saying PF left a debt for maize. They are lying. It's UPND propaganda. You go to your Minister of Agriculture and force him to show you evidence. He has no evidence. If he had evidence, as I said earlier, concerning something wrong about PF, that evidence should have been all over social media by now. So the UPND is lying. There was no debt. What you had were stocks upon stocks of maize left by that president who is in the morgue. The one whose widow has been dragged to court by UPND. You know that President Edgar Lungu, his widow and his children are in court over the body of their relative. They were taken to court by UPND. Okay, so that is the president who left the maize we are talking about. The other question, 2019 delimitation report, what happened to it? I think what happened to this report is you have to ask UPND. Okay, because remember, in the initial Bill 7, I shouldn't say initial as if it ever changed. Initially in Bill 7, the UPND had said they were going to create how many? Was that 55 constituencies? Yes. Okay, yes. 55. So the question is, 55, what was it based on? Certainly, it's not on the 2019 delimitation report. But when they brought it the second time, when they brought it back to the floor of the House and they made their amendments to it, the constituencies increased from 55 to 70. Now, if you increase from 55 to 70, what is the basis? So now, suppose in the 2019 report there was 55. Where is the 70 coming from? Suppose there was 70. Where did the initial 55 come from? And yet, on the bill, the object of the bill number 1, you are saying we want to amend the constitution in order to actualize the ECZ delimitation report.
Of 2019.
Of course, it only had to be 2019 because for the other report, this is when ECZ is going around. You understand? Yeah. This is when so which report were you actualizing? No wonder the president confirmed, I dribbled you. That's why he confirmed. I dribbled you. Okay? Elsewhere, my brother was talking about who really was dribbled. It is a taxpayer who was dribbled. It's not even those MPs who voted for Bill 7, who ordinarily were not supposed to vote for it. But it is the taxpayer, because let me tell you, you taxpayer, you ought to listen to me now. You are the one who is going to bear the cost of the increased number of MPs. 70 MPs elected and 40 proportional representation MPs, including 3 more nominations. What number is that? 70 plus 40 plus 3. This is the addition that the dribbling of HH has brought to the National Assembly. And all of these people will love to be taken care of by you, the taxpayer. So while HH thinks he dribbled the MPs, I actually think he dribbled the taxpayer. But don't think this is all. You also have to pay for the expansion of the working spaces for these MPs. 70 elected MPs mean 70 more constituents offices around the country. And that means 4 more workers in each of those constituencies. That also means, expansion of the chamber here in Lusaka to accommodate the expanded number. You will pay as a taxpayer. You are going to pay for all of that. But not only that, these people, when they come to Lusaka, to sit in the chamber like we are doing now, they have to be taken care of by a taxpayer. This is why we have the Parliament Motel. Now, let me tell you, that Parliament Motel is full. Some MPs are rented for in other lodges outside of that motel. How many more MPs are you going to rent for as taxpayers? So this is why I'm saying, while HH thinks he dribbled the MPs, I actually think it is not the MPs who are dribbled, it is a taxpayer. Because listen to me, even if HH and this government borrow money to do all these things, at the end of the day, that money has to be repaid. And the one who will repay is a taxpayer. Regardless of how you see it, the burden ends with a Zambian taxpayer. But some of the taxpayers like Moik are being taxed on money that they are getting for free. But for you and me, who has a Kantemba, my friend, you have to suffer the consequences of the recklessness of UPND and the dribbling of HH.
My guest this morning on the burning issue, Tuesday edition, is Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya. We will now be taking phone calls from you, our listener. And thank you very much for having followed our conversation. If you are watching us on BMTV channel 114 on Topstar, we say thank you very much for that. Please send us a message on the Facebook page. We will definitely be grateful to hear from you. Let me quickly take this call. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today? And please share your name and where you're calling us from.
Fine, thank you. Ado pakavwa pa. Wa Mtoto Kafwaya. Wadisani mkwaba fiashi.
Au baabe onfebuna natotera sana.
Baabe onkawe mkwai konkanyen pomkwai.
Natotera sana waza kwa kumpera kwa kashitaka kwa kulanda na wa Mtoto Kafwaya. Intungulu shira ndiye simpifi ule umfika. Kwa bantu ngana iteka no mutima irero ndorola. Ba Mtoto wetu wadizize ni batata tule kutika. Kola, ndipo akio kwa wati mutuko tereje ko fifwe bali pano background ifitwa on tute soon manifesto yala fuma iya tonza allowance cause bwato nangula driving force o tuli bonse okwendamo batata we've got issues pano pakabwe na we na ama councillors our trade defect. In fact ni batatu note ama reports mlipokelero ko kulusaka mushaking no shaking to say kabwe ya shaking we are even telling them lelo what you parade to say I want wala kwa tama events ya vili aya kulu aya wori the women's day na youth day. We want to see those numbers they were the propaganda because these people write na propaganda tawakareke balipunda to say na base ndich panicha muno mukabwe ita PF na bana tena mu UPND lero twasaba batarika to say tapado ko mwenga twala abantu cause abantu bale pita mu buchusho wa UPND alo no mabutukira ko buchukubwerero bale umona wano we've been shaded for 4 years lero wese batupera ama rights that if tumine wese batuzembere ka UPND panto kuri buchubwalo aba bantu wa laita no ufika ili bala no 2026 ita kosa kwa bati tikatanyeni ifine mwatutunga pari 4 years ifine twadishiba ulubudirura wapo lero nga kwa baumwa ita no kitapunda tya to United no kwikatana zo ya tifitfe bwino ifintifirenda fe bwino twayiteketera muri imwe ete twayikatira kuri imwe nga nalabo mfya kwantotero yabo mpecho basata besu yakuba bati yakonto alikatira kumpa peyauma yapapene nakunatwikatizira kuri imwe so that imwe bene mwenga mwatwikatanya nokutwabusha nimwe mwana atwabusha otherwise turi bonse mwirakonkeresha abale abacyanguka kozi muneni bamutoto icyakureka icyo kinarabe bako abale ya mudena y'PNG lunchi ekara pasimpisire nunkira ekara pasimpisi abola so kabale wakuchimpisi abola ikutreka katira kuchimpisi nunkira natotera watatu.
Mkwaiba Abel, thank you very much from Kabwe. 0955221515. That's the number you're calling us on. If you'd like to be a part of this conversation here, Tuesday edition of the Burning Issue. The number again is 0955221515. Now, quickly, maybe you would want to respond to Abel.
Okay, thank you so much, Zaki. Abel also lunchi tekala kuchintu ichile nunkila lunchi. Now that's fundamental, isn't it? Lunchi ekala kuchintu ichabola, you know, like when I'll leave it there. But yes, Abel is saying he's happy that I have indicated that the Tonse Manifesto will soon be out. Yes, it will. He has said a lot of things, including clarifying about the councillors who are defecting,
right,
and so on. You see, defecting for some people is not what you can even talk about, because some people find it easy to betray their own conscience, to betray their people. Listen to me, when our friends in the UPND were elected to come and govern this nation, there are people in this country who had said no to the UPND and said yes to other political parties, including the PF. Okay, we had a colleague in Western Province who is not UPND, who is from another party. And you have a number of PF, elected officials at all levels. Now, your people still believed in what you stand for. So you can't find it easy to betray them. It's not proper to betray the people who believed in you, who believed in what you stood for. But for some of our friends, it is easy, or it has become easy. We will leave them to go and join UPND. And time is what we will tell, because again, it is their constitutional right to go and join the UPND. Okay, so we'll leave them to go. But for us and Abel in Kafwaya and people who think like Abel, we are going to stick together and promote our ideals, our ideas, and be able to deliver this nation, from the shackles of UPND. We will stick together. Abel, passionately speaks about us just working together. And he recognizes that fights would be there. But look, now we are going towards the end. Towards this end now, you just have to unite around one person. This is why, for me, I have said, let us unite around Brian Mundubile. Okay? Because Brian Mundubile is a viable entity. Brian Mundubile has gained acceptability from the people. Brian Mundubile, has got the qualities to be able to lead us. So clearly, even when the PF convention comes, I will be supporting Honorable Brian Mundubile. I will not contest the same way that I did not contest at Tonse to allow Brian Mundubile to go through, and I voted for him there. In the PF convention, I will support him. and I'll rally behind him. But in the meantime, because it is certain for Tonse, so the Tonse has already decided, we know that our candidate in Tonse is Honorable Brian Munduvire, and that when the manifesto is launched, is published, I'm urging the Zambian people to go through this manifesto and be able to see what exactly the Tonse Alliance stands for. Did he talk about load shedding for 4 years? Did you hear that? Now, that isn't me speaking, because for me, I hold an elected position. So you might be thinking I'm misleading you. This guy does not live in Lusaka. He doesn't even live in Lunte. He lives in Kabwe, and in Kabwe they are like Lusaka, like Lunte. They have been load shedded for 4 years. 4 years. It's pathetic. Think about all of these, establishments is made. I think as a country we have remained in trouble, and with Tonse we are on the right trajectory.
Let's take some more calls. Good morning. Hello. Hello. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Zach. How are you?
Fine, thank you. You're through to the burning issue. Please go ahead. But first, tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Mulenga, the voice of Wapula.
Yes, Ramulenga.
I'm quite fair, Natasha.
Ekyo mulingi okwishyura bakiyefu singani mu batonsi tekwashikana fotingani mushigo ko baki amazambia nituba nimwe batamshiye mawofse andi tabatamshiye shina gari kwiriya PF atamshiye mu bene mu batara bamteto bafatu bari mishi banango mwinga kinja mu amutonse bari mishi batibabe abantu batinyara bene eronga muri patsinga bamtote bafuwa mulamoneka kwati mwe mwagwata sana olusiku mazambia uko chepe mwachitire mutazala mwali wa transport ero first time ukumira pwesi I think kwati yali same radio imwe wa PF ero mwashire mu power batazala bale fola every month but imwe mwabashire n'enkongole ishale 11 months kumoneka kwati mwa liba wino sa namula tontonga nshama Zambia lukwati efyo mwasha mwachitatata tazala mwemwe mtiyale chita operate bwino fesana ba PF mwaisa mwali ona ula tazala nga ino stanga walolesha tazala kumfana oluse walolesha mwali bama families besu ababomba mtazala abachitali chaya abantu mungu kuti wamfana oluse so mumule mwana kwati mwali ba bwino sana ama defectors ukuino mupande tumwena kuma defectors pero kwali ero mwale isa mpawa ipo twali mwene baye mwe bale defect bale nkonka mu PF pero UPND ale isa mpate twali mwene ama defect mu PF bale ya mu UPND defectors eronga bafuma mu ukula besta mashina na mashina ya msangu shani so mulenje bati abantu bekalire sipansa kapabula obwali kiro pansa kamusumba wabwali bekalire mu PF mushirichi kyonse mutonsa na every day katwishi batonsi ababalera ndempe butwayambire tonse katwishi nga ili apa lifunga ni patatu no bali kuli given ubindele butwambire tonsi abona bena jani kuli butwambire tonsi John Tembo ni butwambire tonsi teti wishi bena batonsi nga ni bese teti wishi bena ba PF nga ni bese so imomrefu anomba ama supporters weka dilidete kwa chintu fyecho mledonsa na tabeshi bena president weka dilidete yo monguru lukwati kasama abantu bani butuka lukwati kopa belt lukwati kuserengero kwa ama by election ifu bariranda abantu ati momare babe party yo ingaisa UPND bakesa yakani charu PF ali bipo mtimanani kana eti fune sibali kana bena serenja ifwe mwana tuwa byonse tabu wala vote la UPND sore keni ubufi ngumabwine ebo bani kenye kasa mubulale tedia chiba kasoli gay seni apa shanshat ndabika mwama church politics idandeni fyeje mukachikira abantu lukwati basimba gambwira panomba nabo mfaneso nabo ndesi yakula ndebyo balera ndakasa mu kwezi ya shani tafya ba fuide Namo mchiri mulekonkanya po message zera lupatoke tapareko ikamituala. Jisi ya tribalism na fingi tapareko fika mitwala mwatiyefu. Kula mwarifu maponyi mwarifu mapo. Pere nyaba nita. Kero mwaba mweka. Iwo mwona kati mwaba important.
Natasha Bamrenga.
In conclusion. Bara imona kwa teba kwa tamano beka nangule sala njati yo beka fi grupu ya bena mtoto Kafwaya kwa tati amano beka. Pele ni kwa banenu chansi. Mama Zambia ni bengi sana benga teke chalo. Nesa pari umulaba sana tote.
Natasha Mkwai. 0955221515. That's the number you are calling us on. Let's take another one quickly. Good morning.
Good morning, Zach. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you today?
I'm good. This is Lawrence calling from Ndola.
Lawrence from Ndola. How's Ndola?
Yes. Good morning, Honorable Kafwaya.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Yes. Mulang for these people that are packing, you know. We know them. Prior to 2021, 2011 general elections, we saw Zachariah Banda for among the factors with MMD. And what happened to Zachariah Banda? He left. So Kulila. Those are defectors, they do mislead because they can go there without knowing that they have just gone there to spy. They don't know, abantu are shallow minded. They will be praising to say now that's defect. So without knowing that the same people that have gone there, they have just gone there to eat. Eventually they are going to vote against them. This is a fact. And they are going to be shocked come 15th August 2026. What are shocked? Including their leader. He's going to be shocked because he's too expectant. Because he always talks about the votes of this, the votes of what HH are already secured. The victory of HH is secured. This is not the country for UPND. Chino echalo chabantu bonse. Lone china mind just says dialectica mchalo. Opposition takwate kumanya abantu apanono yalaba ni unlawful assembly. Mule akumatero kulia. Ikadestika kuli aspiring candidate waba UPND. He always meets the people. Nobody is going to question him to say this is unlawful assembly. We saw on social media. Like distribute my UPND regard. Now Kolongana. Police never went there to accuse them to say this is an unlawful assembly. He was arrested. Now, is this a country we want to have? Those people that think correctly, it's about and they want to continue leading this country, which shouldn't be the case. They were accusing the PF that they are corrupt. They were accusing the PF that they are the ones that were gassing. Up to date, they land this Lazak, the Pabana Gumova Bulati, they were gassing or Muntu. No, but what they show of Fibuavo, and she strategy like Naena Kuri this time around to more gas. Road Vice no Kovac to Shakabunga. Fit the what? Vice no Fubac to West fertilizer, 250. Vice no Fubac fuel, a Papadama middleman, between 517 quarts, the Padama middleman, 2 on Federal West are not less than 10 quarts, not more than 10 quarts. The other is less than 10 quarts. No, but she the strategy la campaign message la Naena Kuri Kuma Zambians are convinced what vote for us. They have failed completely, lamentably. This is what I was even talking about the thing 7. Last time I called one of the radio stations to say, the limitation is people are praising or boasting about, especially by EPND. To be Congo, the creation of 70 MPs, almost 100 MPs, including proportion representation. To become Congolese. The very expensive person to be looked after in this country is the MP. They don't get less than 3 million annually. No, but which they calculate by the number of seats that are going to be created, it's seeing Gendalama. And it's Gendalama is us, the taxpayers who are going to be feeling here. Tuana mwana nombani pintwero kiala lundi wako. natika bane tuwe pati bakabweshe ebintu tapali nesikabwera nangu fimo nangu nine dola baleta bayibwesha bibata kyabu sisyapa pepepi tapale obanga fulinga nangu bamo. Nobody can be fooled. We cannot be blindfolded. Thank you very much. Please organize yourselves. Then united background, we are still intact. These people are going. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lawrence from Dola. I'm tempted to take one more call before you respond on 0955221515. Good morning. Twabomba mkwai katushimwebo mwabomba shani. Ati bani? Bakasonde. Mkwai bakasonde ukabwe konkanyeni po mkwai.
Mkwai mshanga mtete.
Mkwai ndife wino na totere special man.
Mwenka shanimo ala kupeni mre komaila. Akupeni koseni po avena Zambia bonsena beshwa umugale pita. Ifintuna kurugana. So tuline mupalma imubeni fete fili mure tungu ya nani totera sana mpiti shefe ofile atotera.
Tasha Mkwai, Tasha Bakasonde. Quickly, maybe you'd want very brief.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Bakasonde was just appreciating the work we are doing.
Indeed.
So it's easy to thank him back.
Right.
Because it's important when you hear somebody appreciating, you also appreciate them back.
Right.
So na mwebakalamba na inena totera sana. Pafio mwakoseresha ba Tonse Alliance abali under Tonse President Brian Mondobile. Now, I need to take a bit of time to respond to Mulenga, the voice of Luapula, so
right.
he calls himself, and he spoke a lot of things. You know, some of the things were hurt to me. They went straight to my heart. And he says, look, I'm a politics, aya tribalism, aya tribalism. Zaki, you need to remind me, have we projected tribalism here?
Not at all.
Okay. So, Zaki, you and me agree we have not projected tribalism, but this guy brings in tribalism. And he says, give yaba nenu chance, bateke kona waba nenu. Bamulenga. You know, because I'm Bemba, I can tell you that even Bemba intonations, I know them very well. And when somebody is speaking, when Zaki is speaking, if he tells me he's Bemba, I can tell that Zaki is from the east because I'm Zambian and I know all of these things. And by the way, I grew up in the southern province.
Right.
Okay, that is Livingstone is my childhood place. So I can understand. And I listened to you, Bamlenga. I just said, why is Mlenga talking about tribalism? Stop talking about tribalism. It's wrong. It is wrong to talk about tribalism. Start talking about national unity. When you concentrate on national unity, this country will be better off. It's going to be better off. But listen to me, speaking about Catholics is not tribalism. And on this program, I never talked about the Catholics. But if you remind me to talk about the Catholics, I'll be happy. And I'll tell you that it is UPND leadership which called Bishop Alec Banda as a Lucifer of this country. It's not PF. So this hatred for the Catholic is sitting with the UPND. I can tell you that the people who invited Father Sarangeta into the political arena simply because he mentioned Luto Shirwabali is UPND leadership. It is you in the UPND who summoned the priest in Ndola for a homily. The UPND police did that. It is the UPND police who cordoned the Cathedral of the Child Jesus to prevent Archbishop Alec Banda from preaching to his people. It is the UPND police who did that. So this hatred is not coming from the PF. It is coming from UPND. It's UPND deck which summoned Archbishop Alec Banda for a motor vehicle that is believed to have been given to him as a gift. It's not us. So don't come to us and start saying Lekeni Ulupato. We don't hate Archbishop Alec Banda. This is why we gave him solidarity. This is why we go to worship in his cathedral. We don't hate the Roman Catholic Church. This is why you see us worshiping in their parishes. You see us attending church services in their parishes. I am not Catholic, but I do go to Catholic parishes. I go to the Cathedral of the Child Jesus because I give solidarity to a church which I think UPND hates. So stop that. I am not the one who wrote a letter, prevail upon the Catholics. I've never done that. The Tonse has never done that. PF has never done that. You know who should have done that. So many Zambians are defections. I can't even waste time talking about defectors because his fellow caller answered and said, when Arabi was in office, we saw how many people. But listen to what Mlenga says. Ati abantu balekonko bwali. And this is why you, Mlenga, you should know that those people are not giving you the support. It is because of the hunger which UPND has created in this country, which is attracting people who are hungry. So that we saw this in Kasama. We saw what UPND was doing in Chawama. We have seen all of these things. So yes, abantu nga bani survive balefu okulyako because you mwali chita creating sale ikulu lekeni bese balange ati balina imwe bali ekoto mkwete. For us we are happy because umuntu tetiafwe na ba UPND na bakwata obunga. Go and get ubunga kuli ba UPND kasendeni umuchele muyesenda na cooking oil kuli ba UPND munayo bwali mulye. If you have to cheat them that you belong to them, you do so because you have to survive. You have to survive. Because even if they say work hard, mwalaya bomba kwisa. Nikwisoko bapangire nchito ba UPND. Even if they say, no, you have to work hard. You mwalali mamu baperi amataba bakabafiro kumilipira. That's what they have shown in the past. So, my friend, let the people continue surviving. A decent government is coming, which is going to create opportunities for the people so that when we say work hard, we are showing them, go and work hard because we have created the following opportunities. This is why me, as the MP for Lunte, I am coming up with a private members bill which has to deal with employment creation. To force government to create employment and to force government to be transparent in the process of creating employment so that we can now begin to track unemployment. This is going to swallow our people in as we go ahead. So I am coming up with that bill. I have already written to the National Assembly of Zambia to start processing that private members bill. And I hope by UPND are going to support that. If UPND fail to support that bill, I will go to the people, to those who are unemployed, and I will tell them that these are my thoughts for you. These are my thoughts for you. And UPND has refused to be accountable in the process of creating employment. That is not all that I'm doing. I've also written to the National Assembly of Zambia to start the amendment, private members amendment bill of the Anti-Corruption Commission. You remember I talked so strongly on corruption. I don't want the management or the governance of corruption to remain this way. What I want is to improve the governance of the anti-corruption fight. So I'm also doing that. I am moving 2 private members' bills to improve our country. And so when you say kwati ni mufaya wantu bale mwana kwati ni mwabako mweka, no. In Tonse Alliance we've got new people who have never even been in government. We have got people who were in government many years ago. I gave you an example of Dr. Dan Pule. We've got also people who just left government like myself and Brian Mundubire, Stephen Kampiongo and Vatsang and the others. We have this blend. It is a blend of a people that care for this country. So I am sorry, sir, if you are tribalism, tatua vamo, tatua kengilemo, it's It's not part of our DNA. It is part of your DNA because you brought it up when nobody even ever talked about it. What about Lawrence?
Yeah.
Should I speak
Very
to Lawrence?
brief. Very brief. I think he didn't. He was more on your end and encouraging you. But I think
Lawrence,
very
you
brief.
are a good man. You are a very good man. You are not like people who forget very easily. You don't forget. Lawrence remembers the 50 kwacha per 25 kg bag of mealie meal. Lawrence remembered that they were promised 250 kwacha per 50 kg bag of fertilizer. He remembered that they said they are middlemen who are causing fuel to be too expensive at 17 kwacha per liter for petrol and 13 kwacha per liter for diesel. And we were going to remove this 3 kwacha, meaning that petrol was going to be how much? 17 minus 3 is 14 kwacha, right? And diesel was going to be 10 kwacha per liter. But also, Lawrence remembers that they were promised that the dollar will come down. And in fact, the day the dollar was supposed to start coming down is 14 hours after being sworn in. Okay, Lawrence remembers that the truck drivers were promised that they will be paid 10,000 kwacha each. Ask the truck drivers if that is true. But he talks about delimitation, and he agrees with me that the loser here is a taxpayer. The loser in this carelessness is a taxpayer. Wow. The winner is UPND, because UPND's arrogance is such that for them to maintain a grip on office, they have to do these things in order to embed into the elections a majority of parliament. Before even the elections happen, they want to have the majority of members of parliament. And I'll tell you what, the reason they want the majority of members of parliament, and I can challenge them, is in order for them to come and completely amend the constitution. If the Zambian people make a mistake of re-electing them, completely come and amend the constitution and create things that are unthinkable in this nation. That is what UPND wants to do. So yes, this is poor governance. Yes, this is the having no focus for the people. Yes, this is sustaining power by dribbling. And unfortunately, this is the standard of UPND governance.
Your concluding remarks.
I love Zambians. I love them from all corners. And Tonse Alliance loves you. This is why we are coming together under Honorable Brian Mundubile to save our country from the misgovernance of the UPND government. And for you, who is my caller today, I want to appreciate you. Whether you called in support of my discourse or in criticism of my discourse, this is how it should be. We must be able to come to the table and talk. But as we talk, let's talk in love for our country, which is the only country we have.
Honorable Mtotwe Kafwaya, Lunte Patriotic Front Member of Parliament, I thank you so much for taking your
grateful.
time to be here.
I'm thankful that I could be heard.
Indeed, thank you. Well, to you, our listener, we say thank you very much for having followed our conversation, but more sincerely, we would like to thank our partner radio stations. We would like to thank Millennium Radio here in Lusaka, and thank you to Radio Ichengelo in Kitwe. But remember, Katete FM carried this live as well in Katete and the entire Eastern Province, Spice FM in Kabwe, ZFM in Kapiri, Platinum Radio in Indola, Tuta FM in Mansa, Isunga Radio in Northern Province, in Senga Hill to be precise, and BMTV, a new partner on board on channel 114 on Topstar. Thank you very much. And remember that BMTV is also live and very much available on Facebook as BMTV. Look out for them, like the page, follow the conversation and interesting programming, by the way, on that channel for all your local soaps and all your local movies. Very, very available, and also magazine shows. So don't miss out on that. And so to all of you, I say thank you very much for listening. Please take care of yourselves and more so of each other. Bye-bye.